Good evening.
Dobro večer.
Are you alive? Good evening.
Ste živi? Dobro večer.
Oh, chicken. Thank you. Hallelujah. It's good to be back again and thank you for your patience.
Drago mi je što sam opet tu, hvala vam na strpljenju.
I want to this evening continue our conversation and discussion on themes of hope.
Želio bih da nastavimo naš razgovor o nadi.
And I was thinking of a story, one of my favorite European stories.
Sjetio sam se jedne od mojih omiljenih priča o Europi.
All of us, at least those of us who are a little bit older, remember the 80s particularly.
Svi mi koji smo barem stariji malo dobro se sjećamo 80-ih.
Because there was an annual event in the Soviet Union.
Jer u Sovjetskom savezu se svake godine održavao jedan događaj.
It was a funeral.
Bio je to pogreb.
Because one Soviet president after another died.
Jer su sovjetski predsjednici jedan za drugim umirali.
And then this young figure, Mikhail Gorbachev, comes out of nowhere.
I onda je nijotkuda došao ovaj mladić Mikhail Gorbačov.
And Gorbachev initiated this massive program of two words.
I pokrenuo je ovaj veliki program koji se sastoji od dvije riječi.
Glasnost and perestroika.
Glasnost i perestrojka.
And so everybody, even Americans, could speak Russian.
Pa su svi, čak i Amerikanci, znali ruski.
Everybody was thinking of glasnost and perestroika.
Svi su mislili na glasnost i perestrojku.
And of course Gorbachev, like many reformers, was out to change everything.
I naravno Gorbačov je poput svih velikih reformatora išao mijenjati sve.
He wanted to renew the communist system.
Htio je obnoviti komunistički sustav.
But things didn't go the way he planned, as we know.
Međutim, kao što znamo, nije baš išlo kao što je htio.
Thank God.
Hvala Bogu.
But one of the things he did was there was a terrible problem with stealing.
Međutim, učinio je jednu stvar u vezi s strašnim problemom krađe.
As my friends used to say in Poland,
kao što su moji prijatelji u Poljskoj govorili.
If they pretend to pay us, we pretend to work.
Ako oni glume da nas plaćaju, a mi ćemo glumiti da radimo.
And so everybody was stealing.
Pa su svi krali.
So Gorbachev announces that there must be a control on all the different places around the country.
I onda je Gorbačov najavio da se razna mjesta u državi moraju kontrolirati.
One night in a factory in Leningrad,
jedne noći u jednoj tvornici u Leningradu,
a man is walking out of the factory,
čovjek je izlazio iz tvornice,
pushing a wheelbarrow,
gurao je tačke,
inside it is a sack,
sa jednom vrećom,
and he has something in it.
Nešto je u vreći bilo.
The security guard stops him.
Zaštitari su ga zaustavili.
What's in the sack?
Pitali što ti je u vreći?
He says, wooden shavings from the floor.
Rekao je, iver je spoda.
He says, I don't believe you, empty it.
Ne vjerujem ti, isprazni, istresi.
Sack.
Čovjek je ispraznio.
And so off they go.
I pustili ga.
The next night the man is coming out again and he's pushing the wheelbarrow.
Sljedeće noći čovjek ponovo izlazi van, gura tačke.
And he has the sack.
Opet ima vreću.
And the guard says, you're stealing something.
Stražar mu kaže, ti nešto kradeš.
Collecting shavings.
Ma ne, skupljam iverje.
What's in the sack?
Što je u vreći?
Shavings.
Iverje.
Empty the sack.
Ispraznije.
He empties the sack, shavings.
Ispraznio, a ono iverje.
Off he goes.
Ajde, pusti ga.
This goes on for month after month.
Tako to traje mjesecima.
The guard stops him and asks questions.
Stražar ga zaustavi i postavlja mu pitanja.
Same discussion every time.
Svaki put ista priča.
After 9 months the guard is very upset.
Nakon 9 mjeseci stražaru je već dozlo grdilo.
He said, look,
i rekao je, znaš šta?
You're stealing something.
Znam da nešto kradeš.
I'm not going to do anything about it.
Neću ti ništa.
I just need to know.
Samo mi reci šta je.
What is it?
Šta kradeš?
He said, wheelbarrows.
Pa, tačke. This is what we call entrepreneurship.
There is a point, by the way.
Ima ovo svoju poentu.
Many times in life, we miss what's being stolen from under our nose.
Često u našem životu ne vidimo što nam se krade pred nosom.
Because we're looking at the wrong thing.
Jer gledamo na pogrešnu stranu.
And we don't see what's missing.
I ne vidimo što nam nedostaje.
And that's why I wanted to talk to you about the theme of hope.
I zato sam htio da govorimo o nadi.
Because I want to suggest to you that hope is something that is essential to humanity.
Jer hoću vam dati do znanja da je nada nešto što je u srži samog čovječanstva.
We can't live without it.
Ne možemo živjeti bez nade.
But the only condition of having it now is if we have a relationship with God.
Ali jedini uvjet da imamo nadu jeste da poznajemo Boga.
So I want us to keep talking during this session about this theme of hope.
Zato želim da i dalje razgovaramo o nadi.
So 1 Peter chapter 1.
Prva Petrova prvo poglavlje.
And we'll just read a few verses from 3 through verse 9.
Pročitat ćemo nekoliko stihova od 3 do 9,
Then we'll read verse 13.
a onda 13.
Peter's writing to a church that's being persecuted under the reign of the Emperor Nero.
Petar piše crkvi koja je progonjena, koju progoni imperator Neron.
So they know what struggle is like.
Znači, oni znaju što su problemi.
Verse 3, Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who according to his great mercy has caused us to be born again.
3. stih, neka bude hvaljen Bog, Otac našega Gospodina Isusa Krista, koji nas po svome velikom milosrđu ponovno rodi.
To a living hope through the resurrection of our Lord of Jesus Christ from the dead.
Za živu nadu, a po uskrsnućem Isusa Krista od mrtvih.
To obtain an inheritance which is imperishable and undefiled and will not fade away.
Za neprolaznu, neokaljanu, neuvelu baštinu koja stoji sačuvana u nebesima.
Reserved in heaven for you.
Sačuvana u nebesima.
Who are protected by the power of God through faith.
Vama koje snaga Božja po vjeri čuva.
For a salvation ready to be revealed in the last time.
Za spasenje što već stoji spremno da se objavi u posljednje vrijeme.
In this you greatly rejoice.
Zato ćete klicati.
Even though now for a little while if necessary you've been distressed by various trials.
Iako ste jedan čas, ako to mora biti, budete ožalostili raznim kušnjama.
So that the proof of your faith being more precious than gold which is perishable.
Da se vrijednost vaše vjere dragocjenija od propadljivog zlata,
Even though tested by fire,
koje se kuša u vatri,
may be found to result in praise and glory at the revelation of Jesus Christ.
pokaže na hvalu, slavu i čast u času kad se objavi Isus Krist.
And though you have not seen him, you love him.
Koga ljubite, iako ga niste vidjeli.
Though you don't see him now, but you believe in him,
U koga vjerujete, iako ga još ne gledate.
you greatly rejoice with joy inexpressible and full of glory.
Klicat ćete od veselja neizrecivom i proslavljenom radosti.
Obtaining as the outcome of your faith the salvation of your souls.
Jer ćete postići cilj svoje vjere, spasenje duša.
Verse 13.
13. stih.
Therefore prepare your minds for action.
Zato opavšite svoje bokove, to je svoj
Keep sober in spirit.
Budite trijezni.
Fix your hope completely on the grace to be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ.
Potpuno stavite svoju nadu u milost koja će vam se donijeti u času kad se objavi Isus Krist.
Fix your hope completely on what is going to happen when Christ returns.
Potpuno stavite svoju nadu u ono što će se dogoditi kada se Krist vrati.
Lewis Smedes, a pastor in America,
Louis Smith, jedan pastor u Americi,
he says that hope is the Creator's implant within us.
rekao je da je nada nešto što je stvoritelj usadio u nas.
He talks about us being God's traveling children.
Mi smo Božja putujuća djeca.
On the road to a future that we can imagine, but we cannot control.
Koja putuju ka budućnosti koje mogu zamisliti, ali ne mogu
I want
kontrolirati.
you to think about that.
Razmislite o tome.
Moving towards a future that we can imagine, but that we cannot control.
Krećemo se ka budućnosti koju možemo zamisliti, ali ne možemo kontrolirati.
Our Dutch brother was indicating that he likes to control things.
Naš brat Nizozemac je rekao da voli kontrolirati stvari.
So do I.
Volim i ja.
So do you.
I vi isto.
One of the things that frustrates us about life is how little control we have.
Život nas frustrira jer ga u tako maloj mjeri možemo
We
kontrolirati.
plan, we dream,
Mi planiramo, mi
we
sanjamo,
organize.
organiziramo,
and things just don't always go the way we want.
ali ne ide uvijek sve kako bismo htjeli.
And then sometimes we think, well, then there is no control.
I onda ponekad pomišljamo pa nema tu kontrole.
There is control, but it's his, not ours.
Ima, ali nije u našim rukama nego u Božjim.
And so if we get confused, we put again hope in the wrong thing.
I kad se zbunimo, onda ponovo položimo svoju nadu u pogrešnu stvar.
Hope has to be able to survive tragedy, sickness, failure.
Nada mora preživjeti i tragediju, i bolesti, i neuspjeh.
Hope is like the fuel for the journey.
Nada je gorivo za naše putovanje.
Keeps you alive, it keeps you moving.
Drži vas na životu.
It
Daje vam
rescues
da
you
se
from
krećete.
despair.
Izbavlja vas od očaja.
And think about our culture, think about Europe, think about Croatia.
I razmislimo o svojem kulturnom okruženju, o Europi, o Hrvatskoj.
The people who lose hope are the people most ready for suicide.
Ljudi koji izgube nadu su najspremniji za samoubojstvo.
There's nothing to live for.
Jer nemaju za što živjeti.
Been there, done that, tried this. There's nothing works anymore.
Sve sam isprobao, svud sam bio, ništa mi ne pomaže.
Hopelessness is the soul sickness of our continent.
I beznađe je bolest našeg kontinenta.
Because we will not look to the only place where an answer can be found.
Jer ne želimo tražiti odgovor na jedinom mjestu gdje ga možemo naći.
But I'm speaking to you who are Christians who do believe in hope.
Ali sad govorim vama koji ste kršćani, koji vjerujete u nadu.
And I want to make this as clear as possible why it's important for us.
I želim da vam bude jako jasno zašto je ovo važno nama.
Because we cannot give what we do not have.
Jer ne možemo dati ono što nemamo.
And so if there's a hope deficiency in us, we can't give something to someone else.
Pa ako mi sami nemamo nade, kako ćemo je dati drugima?
You can come around and give exhortations.
Možete nekoga bodriti.
You can tell them that God's wonderful, but you don't really believe it, and they know you don't believe it.
Možete pričati kako je Bog divan, mada ne vjerujete i ljudima je jasno da ne
Or we
vjerujete.
can get back in touch with hope so that it's in our life in a substantial way.
Ili se možemo ponovo vratiti k nadi kako bi ona ispunila naš život.
Many years ago, a friend of mine said this, and it's a phrase that stuck with me.
Prije više godine jedan prijatelj mi je rekao nešto što sam zapamtio.
He said, trials will make you bitter or better.
Rekao je, kušnje će te učiniti ili ogorčenim ili boljim.
And I can tell you, in churches I've been in organizations, that's true.
I mogu vam reći, vidio sam razne crkve i organizacije, to je istina.
How do we handle disappointment? How do we handle pain? How do we handle the disappointments of life, the experiences we come to?
Kako se nosimo sa razočarenjima, sa boli, sa razočarenjima u životu?
For many people, they begin to think that God has let them down.
Mnogi počinju pomišljati da ih je Bog iznevjerio.
Philip Yancey wrote an excellent book called Disappointment with God.
Philip Yancey je napisao sjajnu knjigu koja se zove Razočarenje
Now,
u Boga.
some Christians hate that title.
Nekim se kršćanima taj naslov ne sviđa.
Oh, a book on my bookstall says Disappointment with God. I mean, hello.
Pa neću na svoju policu staviti knjigu koja kaže Razočarano Boga, ajde.
But the fact is, there are many people who have disappointment with God.
Međutim, mnogi su se razočarali u Boga.
They're in the Bible, some of them.
Neki od njih su u Bibliji.
Certainly in the book of Psalms.
Svakako u psalmima.
And here's the problem.
I evo problema.
If we don't deal with these questions of life,
Ako se ne bavimo tim životnim
they don't
pitanjima,
go away.
ona neće otići.
Disappointment leads to doubt.
Razočarenje dovodi do sumnje.
And doubt is not necessarily a problem.
I sumnja sama po sebi ne mora biti problem.
It's a halfway house between faith and unbelief.
Jer ona je na pola između vjere i nevjere.
So if I answer the questions of doubt, I'll move towards faith.
Pa ako odgovorim na pitanja na koja me sumnja nagoni, vratit ću se k vjeri.
If I ignore the reasons for doubt, I move towards unbelief.
Ako zanemarim razloge za sumnju, onda neću vjerovati
And
više.
if you have a church that doesn't allow questions
I ako u vašoj crkvi se ne dopuštaju pitanja
and doesn't allow people to work through answers to hard questions,
i ne daje se ljudima da dođu do odgovora na teška pitanja,
then doubt will grow.
onda će biti sve više sumnje.
No matter how fast we sing, no matter how loud we sing, no matter how much we exhort, that's not enough.
Koliko god glasno ili brzo pjevali ili koliko god hrabrili, to nije dovoljno.
Hope can survive honesty.
Nada može preživjeti našu iskrenost.
God is not afraid of questions.
Bog se ne boji pitanja.
So let's not be afraid of wrestling with the hard things of life.
Zato se nemojmo bojati uhvatiti u koštac sa teškim stvarima u
And
životu.
I suspect that some of you have come here with disappointment. I know you have.
I pretpostavljam da su neki od vas ovdje razočarani. Znam
It's no
to.
surprise.
Nije to iznenađenje
The
nikakvo.
sad thing will be is if you leave with it.
Tužno će biti ako i dalje ostanete takvi.
If you don't talk to someone.
Ako ne
If
porazgovarate
you
s
don't
nekim.
pray with someone.
Ako se ne
If
pomolite
you
s
don't
nekim.
reach out to someone while you're here, that would be the sad part.
Ako ne zavapite k nekome dok ste tu, to bi bilo tužno.
But a second challenge to hope is the question that we already talked about, the pull of other loves.
Ali drugi izazov nade o kojem smo već govorili jeste privlačnost drugih ljubavi.
I repeat that verse from Proverbs 4,
Ponovo onaj stih iz Izreka 4.
verse 23.
23.
Guard your heart with all diligence,
Čuvaj svoje srce,
because from it come the issues of life.
jer iz njega izvire život.
What is it? Why do so many people drift in their faith?
Zašto toliki ljudi plutaju u vjeri?
Because they begin to believe that something else will give them the happiness they can't find in their Christian life.
Jer su počeli vjerovati da će im nešto drugo dati sreću koju ne mogu naći u kršćanskom životu.
So we go after sin because we think I will get the independence and the security over here that I'm not getting in my life with God.
I stoga se upuštamo u grijeh, mislimo tu ću dobiti svoju neovisnost i sreću.
Now, we don't need to become fanatics,
Ne moramo biti fanatici,
but we need to work constantly on asking ourselves some questions.
ali se stalno trebamo zapitkivati neke stvari.
What do I really love?
Što ja to doista volim?
Now, I'm not asking you anything I'm not asking myself.
Ne tražim od vas ništa što ne tražim od samog sebe.
I go through these questions like you do.
I ja se to sve pitam kao i vi.
I am allowing my emotions to speak to me because they tell me something about myself and something about why I'm not trusting God.
Dopuštam svojim emocijama da se izraze jer mi one otkrivaju nešto o meni i zašto ne vjerujem Bogu.
God, what do I really want?
Bože, što ja zapravo hoću?
I say I love you.
Govorim da te volim.
But I'm giving all my time and attention to these other things.
Ali sve svoje vrijeme i pozornost posvećujem nečem drugom.
I'm interested in all this kind of stuff and your world seems to have no attraction at times.
Zanima me sve nešto drugo, ali tvoj svijet kao da me ne privlači.
What will it take to birth that love in my soul?
Što je potrebno da se ta ljubav rodi u mojoj duši?
That I want the good.
Da bih želio ono što je
More than
dobro.
anything else.
Više nego bilo što.
That I want to want God even when I don't want God.
Da želim željeti Boga čak i kad ga ne želim.
And that I see my need of that.
I da vidim svoju potrebu za time.
So what is it that you love?
Što volite?
The allure of success.
Privlačnost uspjeha.
Evangelicals love success.
Evanđelski vjernici vole uspjeh.
The psychologist Mary Bell said this. Mary Bell.
Psiholog Mary Bell rekao je.
She says achievement is the alcohol of our time.
Rekla je postignuća su alkohol našeg vremena.
Achievement.
Postignuća.
Would you think of that as an alcohol?
Jel vam se to čini kao alkohol?
In our kind of circles it probably is.
U našim krugovima vjerojatno da.
Because it can sometimes be the way that we become famous, we become recognized, we become spiritual.
Jer tada postajemo poznati, uvaženi,
We want to be
duhovni.
seen to be something.
Želimo da nas vide, da smo nešto.
And again, what is it that's driving it? Are we called? Are we driven?
I što nas to pogoni? Jesmo li pozvani ili nas nešto gura?
The Bible has a word for anything in my life that takes the place of God.
Biblija ima jednu riječ za sve ono što u mom životu zauzima Božje ime.
Called idolatry.
Božje mjesto, a to je idolopoklonstvo.
Anything that usurps God's place in my heart.
Sve što potkopava Božje mjesto u mom srcu.
Tim Keller, some of you know who he is, the pastor of Redeemer Church in New York City.
Tim Keller, neki znate tko je pastor crkve jedne u New
Listen to
Yorku.
how he talks about success.
Evo što je rekao o uspjehu.
And this is by a veteran of the Christian faith.
Ovo je jedan veteran kršćanske vjere.
He says more than any other idols.
Rekao je više od bilo kojeg drugog idola.
Personal success and achievement
Osobni uspjeh i postignuće
lead to a sense that we ourselves are God.
vode k osjećaju da smo mi sami Bog.
That our security and our value rest in our own wisdom, our own strength,
Da naša
our
sigurnost i
own
vrijednost
performance.
stoje u našoj uspješnosti i u našem radu.
Why am I sharing that?
Zašto vam to govorim?
Because if you have subtly, just over time,
Zato što ako ste suptilno s vremenom
transferred your hope from God to your own abilities, to your own plans, to your own organization,
prebacili svoju vjeru s Boga na vaš plan, na vašu organizaciju
and then you come here riddled with disappointment,
i sad ste ovdje razočarani
and you wonder why there's no sense of blessing, there's no anointing, there's no fruit at times,
i pitate se zašto nemate pomazanja, zašto nema blagoslova,
and you
ploda.
spend all your time in your imagination comparing yourself against someone else,
I stalno se u svojoj mašti uspoređujete s nekim drugim.
then surely that's a sign that we've lost our way, are hoping in the wrong thing.
To znači da smo zastranili, da se nadamo nečem pogrešnom.
So what is this thing, this Christian hope?
Što je onda ta kršćanska nada?
Now, I could go into a lengthy study on the use of hope in the New Testament,
Mogu bih održati jedno poduže predavanje o tome kako se o nadi govori u Novom Zavjetu,
but I sense at this time of night most of you would go to sleep.
ali sad biste vjerojatno već svi pozaspali.
If you look in your Bibles, you'll find that faith, hope, and love are used constantly together.
Ako pogledate u Bibliju vidjet ćete da se o nadi, vjeri i ljubavi stalno govori zajedno.
In 1 Thessalonians and Galatians and 1 Corinthians and Hebrews.
U prvoj Salonjanima, u Galačanima, u Hebrejima.
So they must work together.
Dakle, to troje mora biti zajedno.
Faith, trusting in what God has done and who God is.
Vjera, naše povjerenje u ono što je Bog učinio i
Hope,
tko jest.
believing in God in anticipation.
Nada znači vjera u Boga i
And
iščekivanje,
looking forward.
gledanje prema naprijed
And love that guides us into an ethic of change.
i ljubav koja nas vodi ka etici promjene.
But it's a living hope, isn't it?
Ali to je živa nada, zar ne?
So in 1 Peter, we go back there, verses 3 and 4, we're told that it's a living hope because it's in a person.
I u 1. Petrovoj 1, 3, 4 vidimo da je to živa nada jer se temelji na osobi.
Is hope something worth having?
Vrijedi li imati nadu?
Is it real?
Je li ona stvarna?
Here it talks about an inheritance which is imperishable, undefiled, and will not fade away.
Ovdje govori o baštini koja je neprolazna, neokaljana, koja je neuvela.
I've been traveling now for about 35 years.
Putujem već 35 godina.
I came to Christ.
Upoznao sam Krista.
And God took me out of Scotland.
I Bog me je poveo iz Škotske.
Came to Vienna, Austria.
Došao sam u Beč, u
Then
Austriji.
came to the former Yugoslavia.
Pa onda u bivšu Jugoslaviju.
Then went to Greece.
Onda u Grčku.
And Bulgaria.
Bugarsku.
And Romania.
Rumunjsku.
And Hungary.
Mađarsku.
And later into Russia.
Onda u Rusiju.
Czechoslovakia.
Čehoslovačku.
Poland.
Poljsku.
All over Europe.
Bio sam po cijeloj
And it
Europi.
just kept growing.
I raslo je sve.
Then I went to Latin America.
Onda sam otišao u Latinsku
Went to
Ameriku.
Argentina.
Argentinu.
I went to the Middle East.
Bliski
I've
istok.
been to Egypt and to name the country. I've been
Egipat.
there.
I samo recite, bio sam tamo.
And even on this trip, I'm coming here, going to Austria, and then going to India.
Čak i ovdje došao sam tu iz Austrije i sad idem u Indiju.
I'm receiving emails about travel plans to go to Malaysia and Thailand
I
in March.
već mi pišu e-mailove o tome da bih trebao u ožujku ići na Tajland i Maleziju.
I'm tired.
Umoran sam.
But let me tell you one thing I love.
Ali reći ću vam što volim.
I love coming home.
Volim doći kući.
Now, being honest, America's not really my home.
Istinu govoreći, Amerika nije moj dom,
But it is my home for now.
ali za sada jeste.
You know what home is like, don't you?
Znate što je dom?
My slippers are there.
Tamo su mi papuče,
My books are there.
tamo su mi knjige.
The kind of food I like to eat is there.
Hrana koju volim jesti je tamo.
I drink British tea there.
Tamo pijem britanski čaj.
I watch Star Trek there.
Tamo gledam zvezdane staze. Jej!
Live long and prosper. Home is a wonderful thing.
Dom je divna stvar.
But do you realize what the Bible says here?
Ali znate što Biblija govori?
One day we are going home.
Jednog dana ćemo otići kući.
Where there are no more tears, where there is no more sorrow, where there is no more pain, where there is no more death, where there are no more drugs.
Gdje nema tuge, suze, boli, smrti, droge.
It's an inheritance for you.
To je baština za vas.
We have a place.
Za nas postoji mjesto.
Jesus said, if I go, I've prepared a place for you. I'll come again and receive you to myself.
Isus je rekao, idem vam pripremiti mjesto i vratit ću se i uzeti vas k sebi.
The desire for home is in every human heart.
Želja za domom nalazi se u svakom ljudskom srcu.
But they don't know where it is.
Ali ljudi ne znaju gdje je dom.
And part of our mission is to show them where home will be found.
I dio naše službe jeste pokazati im gdje je dom.
You've got a living hope, by the way.
Imate živu nadu inače.
And it's a promised hope. We see that in verses 5 and 6.
To je obećana nada, vidimo stihove 5 i 6.
It's guaranteed by the power of God.
Zajamčena je Božjom silom.
Protected by the power of God.
Zaštićena Božjom snagom.
So it's not limited by circumstances.
Ona nije ograničena
It's not
okolnostima,
limited by economics.
gospodarstvom.
There's nothing that's going to overthrow that hope.
Ništa neće zbaciti tu nadu.
I like this from John Calvin.
Sviđa mi se što je John Calvin rekao.
Calvin said, faith believes God to be true.
Calvin je rekao, vjera je kada vjerujemo da je Bog istinit.
Hope awaits the time when this truth shall be manifested.
Nada je iščekivanje vremena kad će se ta istina otkriti.
Faith believes that he is our Father.
Vjera vjeruje da je on naš otac.
Hope anticipates that he will ever show himself to be a father towards us.
Nada iščekuje da će se on pokazati kao naš vječni otac.
And then Calvin said this.
I zatim Calvin dalje kaže.
Faith is the foundation upon which hope rests.
Vjera je temelj na kojem počiva nada.
Hope nourishes and sustains faith.
Nada hrani i održava vjeru.
And in chapter 1, verses 8 and 9,
I u 8. i 9. stihu
I
prvog
mentioned this
poglavlja.
this morning, it's because we have promised a good end.
Spomenuo sam to jutros. Obećan nam je dobar kraj.
You see, we are in a story, ladies and gentlemen.
Dame i gospodo, mi smo dio priče.
We are in a story, and the person who tells the true story about the universe wins.
Nalazimo se u priči, a ona osoba koja priča istinitu priču o svemiru će pobijediti.
There's been a lot of stories in Europe's history.
U povijesti Europe je bilo puno priča.
There was the story of the Roman Empire.
Bila je tu priča o Rimskom imperiju.
There was the story of the Nazis.
Priča o nacistima.
There were the story of the communists.
Priča o komunizmu.
There's all kinds of stories floating around Europe,
Po Europi se pletu razne priče,
but only one of them has a good end.
ali samo jedna ima dobar završetak.
And I was reminded of this one day.
I sjetio sam se toga jednog dana.
1991,
1991.
We had a congress in Nuremberg, Germany.
U Njemačkoj u Nürnbergu smo imali kongres.
Now you may have gathered by now that I like history a little bit.
Vjerojatno ste shvatili da volim povijest.
So while we're in Nuremberg, you know, we're having this conference to mobilize for mission all across Europe.
Dok smo bili tako u Nürnbergu na konferenciji za pokretanje misije po cijeloj Europi.
And I'm wanting to get out and explore the city because there's places I want to go. I'm thinking of the Third Reich. I'm thinking of all kinds of things I want to see.
I htio sam istražiti malo grad, razmišljam o Trećem Rajhu, što sve hoću vidjeti.
And we're in this big exhibition ground at the edge of the city.
Bili smo u izložbenoj dvorani velikoj.
You know where they hold the displays.
Tamo gdje se održavaju izložbe.
One day I'm walking out and I look down.
Jednog dana kad sam izlazio pogledao sam dolje.
I see these concrete stairs.
Vidio sam betonske stube.
And I suddenly realized where we were.
I odjednom sam shvatio gdje smo.
This new conference center is built into what was the Reichsparteigebiet. It was the area where they had the Nuremberg rallies.
Aha, ova izložbena dvorana je napravljena tamo gdje se održavao procesni Nürnberški, jel?
Here we are having a Christian conference.
Dakle, održavamo kršćansku konferenciju.
In the place where the SS and the SA used to have their conferences.
Tamo gdje su SS-ovci održavali svoje konferencije.
So I'm out looking around.
I tako ja razgledam okolo.
And a friend of mine comes to join me on a trip. We're going up to Berlin.
Jedan prijatelj mi se išao pridružiti na putovanju u Berlin.
And we found the Zeppelin field.
Našli smo Zeppelinovo polje.
The Zeppelin field is where Hitler used to address the rallies, the tens of thousands of stormtroopers.
Tamo se Hitler obraćao svojim vojnicima, desetina tisuća njih.
I stood on the very place where I've seen black and white films of Hitler addressing these crowds.
Stajao sam na mjestu gdje sam u kojem sam gledao crno-bijele filmove gdje se Hitler obraćao narodu.
And I'm looking around.
I gledam naokolo.
And here's the very buildings that he was in.
To su građevine u kojima je on stajao.
And we had just sent 3,000 or 4,000 Christians off to tell people about Christ.
I baš smo poslali 3-4 kršćana da govore ljudima o Kristu.
Hitler proclaimed the 1,000-year Reich.
Hitler je navješćivao 1000-godišnje carstvo, Reich.
1933 he became Chancellor of Germany.
33. je postao kancelar Njemačke.
1945 it was gone.
45. sve je nestalo.
12 years.
12 godina.
12 years of hell.
12 godina pakla.
For Germans and for others.
Za Njemce i za druge.
An enormous tragedy all across Europe.
Velika tragedija po cijeloj Europi.
And we're standing in this place.
I stajali smo na tom mjestu.
And my memories were just reeling, saying, God, these powers that at the time we thought were invincible, gone with the wind.
Sjećanja su me preplavila, Bože, sve te sile za koje smo mislili da su nepobjedive, nestale su.
2 days later.
2 dana kasnije.
I'm crossing what used to be the border into the Deutsche Demokratische Republik.
Prelazim bivšu granicu između Narodne Republike Njemačke.
At Hof-Nijla.
Na tom mjestu.
Now why was this important?
Zašto je to važno?
Because I had been arrested there many years ago by the East German police.
Jer me je tamo prije više godina istočno njemačka policija uhitila.
I was also carrying Bibles and I was going from Germany through East Germany to Poland with Bibles.
I ja sam nosio Biblije i išao sam iz zapadne Njemačke preko istočne u Poljsku, nosio Biblije.
We were arrested.
I uhitili su
Our
nas.
van was confiscated.
Zaplijenili su kombi.
We were interrogated for 3 days.
3 dana su nas ispitivali.
And I was sitting, I wasn't allowed to go to sleep. I was Stasi policeman for 3 days interrogating morning, noon and night.
Da, i ispitivali su me cijelo vrijeme, sjedio sam stalno, nisam smio spavati.
And I remember sitting in the office.
Sjećam se, sjedio sam tamo.
And I had learned under those interrogations, there's only one thing they need to know.
I na tim svim ispitivanjima shvatio sam, oni trebaju znati samo jednu stvar.
They're already caught us, they've got our Bibles, they've got our passports, nothing more to say.
Da, već su nas uhvatili, imaju Biblije, imaju putovnice, nemam šta reći.
I would just tell them about Jesus and they'd go nuts.
Onda bih im ja govorio o Isusu, oni bi poludjeli.
And they would threaten us with locking us up forever, they'd put us in prison, our embassies would never know, you know, we'd be locked up for the rest of our life.
Prijetili su da će zatvoriti, da neće javiti veleposlanstvima ništa.
Eventually, of course, they threw us out into West Germany.
Na kraju su nas izbacili u zapadnu Njemačku.
Now back to the story.
I da se vratimo na priču.
I'm driving with my friend.
Vozim se s prijateljem.
2 days after I stood on the place where Adolf Hitler was.
2 dana nakon što sam stajao na mjestu gdje je bio Adolf Hitler.
The border crossing that used to be there just a couple of years before.
Nalazio sam se na graničnom prijelazu nekadašnjem koji je tu bio prije par godina.
It's not yet been demolished.
Još nije bio razrušen.
Still guard towers on the hills.
Stražarske kule su još bile po brdima.
And there's the same building where I was interrogated.
I vidio sam zgradu u kojoj su me ispitivali.
We climbed the fence over the autobahn.
Popeli smo se preko ograde na autoputu.
We walked up to the building.
Došli smo do te zgrade.
And there was the office. The windows are all smashed. The very office where I was being interrogated.
I tamo je bio taj ured gdje su me ispitivali, prozori razbijeni.
And I was stunned.
Bio sam zadivljen.
My friend had his video camera.
Prijatelj je nosio videokameru.
Tears were running down my face.
Plakao sam.
Because all I could think was, gone with the wind. Gone with the
Ja sam
wind.
samo mogao pomisliti, prohujalo je s vihorom.
They had so much power.
Imali su toliku moć.
They seemed invincible.
Djelovali su
No
nepobjedivo.
one knew that it would happen.
Nitko nije znao da
The
će se to
CIA
dogoditi.
didn't guess it.
CIA nije pogodila.
Nobody knew.
Nitko nije
But
znao.
when God said, enough, it
Ali
stops.
kad je Bog rekao dosta je, bilo je dosta.
A friend of mine once said this.
Jedan moj prijatelj je rekao,
God breathed and the iron curtain dissolved.
Bog je dahnuo i željezna zavjesa se raspala.
That might sound romantic, but I think that's a good picture.
To može zvučati romantično, ali mislim da je dobra ilustracija.
Why is that important?
Zašto je to važno?
Because he holds the keys of history.
Zato što on drži ključeve povijesti.
And just, there'll be more powers in this world.
I bit će još sila na ovom svijetu.
And they will be big and they will be powerful and they will seem invincible.
I bit će one i velike i moćne i djelovat će nepobjedivo.
But they will not last.
Ali neće potrajati.
There is only one kingdom.
Samo je jedno kraljevstvo.
And it's a small kingdom.
Malo je.
And it starts out the size of a mustard seed.
Počinje u zrnu gorušice.
But it
Tako veliko.
overcomes all the rest.
Ali ono će nadvladati sva druga
Why is
kraljevstva.
this important?
Zašto je to važno?
Because the future is always open to do what only God can do.
Zato što je budućnost uvijek otvorena za ono što samo Bog može
If you
učiniti.
look in the wrong place, you won't have hope.
Ako gledate na pogrešno mjesto, nećete imati nade.
If we expect history to have its own answer, we won't have hope.
Ako očekujemo da povijest da svoje odgovore, nećemo imati nade.
The same God who created the world from nothing will bring the world to its conclusion when he's ready. The same God who created the world from nothing
Isti Bog koji je stvorio svijet, ni iz čega on će dovesti sve k završetku.
will bring the world to a conclusion when he's ready.
Dovesti svijet do svoga kraja i završetka.
And so
Zaključka.
until he comes, what do we do?
Što ćemo činiti? On dolazi, što ćemo činiti?
We watch,
Gledat ćemo,
we wait,
čekati
we work.
i raditi.
Those are our things, aren't they?
To su te tri stvari.
We watch,
Gledamo,
keeping our eyes on the horizon,
dakle gledamo na
looking for
horizont,
the king.
čekamo kralja,
We wait, we worship, we celebrate the songs of Zion,
čekamo, slavimo sa sionskim pjesmama,
but we work.
ali i radimo.
Now you know that, don't you?
Znate to, zar ne?
But again, hope is contested. Hope is challenged.
Ali opet, nada je izazvana.
He's getting tired. We're wearing him out now. 1 John chapter 2.
Prva Ivanova 2:15.
There are trials that come against us and none of them are new.
Snaći će nas kušnje i nijedna od njih nije nova.
You know, the devil doesn't have to invent new strategies when the old ones work so well.
Satana ne mora izmišljati nove strategije kada stare funkcioniraju.
And in 1 John, you have a picture of temptation that you find in the book of Genesis.
I u prvoj Ivanovi imamo sliku kušnje koju imamo i u postanku,
And then you find the same temptation sequence also in the book of Matthew.
a isto tako i u Mateju evanđelju.
So you find it in Genesis,
Dakle, u postanku,
you find it in Matthew,
u Mateju,
and here is John talking about it to the church.
i ovdje Ivan govori o toj kušnji crkvi.
So this is something we need to be listening to.
Dakle, trebamo slušati ovo.
1 John 2
Prva Ivanova 2,
and verse 15 through 17.
15 do 17.
John says to the church,
Ivan crkvi govori,
do not love the world
nemojte ljubiti ni svijeta,
or the things in the world.
ni onoga što je u svijetu.
If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
Ako tko ljubi svijet, u njemu nema ljubavi očeve.
For all that's in the world,
Jer sve što je u svijetu,
the lust of the flesh,
ništa od onog što je u svijetu,
The lust of
požuda
the eyes,
tijela, požuda očiju,
the boastful pride of life,
oholost zbog imetka,
it's not from the world. It's not from the Father,
ne dolazi od oca,
but it's from the world.
nego dolazi od
The
svijeta.
world is passing away and its lusts,
A svijet sa svojom požudom prolazi,
but the one who does the will of God lives forever.
a tko vrši volju Božju ostaje zauvijek.
The world, as one writer says, is no friend to grace.
Jedan pisac je rekao da svijet nije prijatelj milosti.
What does worldliness do?
Kakva je svjetovnost? Što ona čini?
It corrupts our love,
Ona kvari našu ljubav,
it pollutes our hope,
zagađuje našu nadu
and it erodes our faith.
i nagriza našu vjeru.
So, what we are constantly going to be facing is a tension in our life.
Dakle, u životu ćemo stalno doživljavati napetost.
Will I trust God or will I trust something else?
Hoću li vjerovati Bogu ili nečem drugom?
Now, I don't believe you get up in the morning and think, well, what am I going to do? Will I trust God or will I just trust myself for the day?
I vjerojatno ujutro nećete ustati pa reći, dobro, hoću sad vjerovati Bogu ili ne.
None of us work that way.
Ne funkcioniramo tako.
What happens is much more subtle.
Ono što se događa je puno suptilnije.
You get into the habit of not seeking God.
Pređe vam u naviku da ne tražite Boga.
You get in the habit of being busy.
Prezauzeti ste.
You get in the habit of just doing things on initiative and asking God then to bless it.
Ili radite sve po nekoj inicijativi i tražite da Bog blagoslovi.
And over time we stop trusting God because we start seeing our own powers and our own strength.
I s vremenom prestajemo vjerovati Bogu jer vidimo svoju snagu.
And for many of you the problem is not a problem with evil.
I kod mnogih od vas problem nije problem sa zlom.
For some of you the problem is a problem with good.
Nego s dobrom.
It's the good that's the enemy of the best.
Dobro je neprijatelj onog najboljeg.
There are so many good things.
Puno je toga dobroga.
So let's just do them all.
Pa ajmo ih onda sve napraviti.
All of the time.
Kada? Stalno?
Everywhere.
Gdje? Svuda.
So we're busy, but we have no time to focus.
Pa smo stalno zauzeti, a nemamo vremena usredotočiti se.
And maybe our trust shifts.
I možda onda prestajemo imati povjerenja u Boga.
Because people in a hurry and leaders in a hurry tend to take shortcuts.
Jer ljudi koji se žure i vođe koji se žure vole prečice.
Don't mean to do it in the beginning, but it happens.
Ne žele to isprava, ali događa se.
Maybe there's an easier way to do this.
Možda ima neki lakši način za
Maybe
ovo.
there's a quicker way.
Možda ima brži način.
I mean, just think of the Old Testament.
Sjetimo se Starog Zavjeta.
Who is the father of those who believe?
Tko je otac vjernih?
Abraham.
Abraham.
And we love him, don't we?
I volimo ga, zar ne?
God speaks to the man. He's never heard this God. He's living in his own country. And God says, leave.
Bog progovara čovjeku, čovjek nikad nije čuo tog Boga, govori mu, izađi iz svoje zemlje.
He doesn't know where.
Ne zna kamo.
He sets out following a voice.
I kreće sljedeći glas.
He leaves his family, his culture, his razničin, his čevapčići, and off he goes.
Napušta obitelj, domovinu, ćevape, ražnjiće i ide.
And he doesn't even know if they've got grilled lamb in the place he's going.
Čak ne zna ni da li tamo ima janjetine gdje ide.
And he hears the voice of God, he trusts God, and off he goes.
Čuje Božji glas, vjeruje mu i kreće.
But you look into the story of Abraham, it doesn't go smoothly, does it?
Ali kad pogledamo priču o Abrahamu, baš nije tako jednostavno.
You see, at least twice in his life he makes two enormous mistakes.
Jer barem 2 puta je u životu napravio 2 velike greške.
You see, he has a very beautiful wife.
Imao je lijepu ženu.
And he's traveling.
Putovao je.
He's in a foreign land.
Našao se u tuđoj
He
zemlji.
doesn't have relatives and resources.
Nije imao rodbine, niti imovine.
He doesn't have the clan to back him up.
Nije imao klan koji će ga čuvati.
It's just him, the goats and the kids and his wife.
Znači samo on, djeca, koze i žena.
And she's really something.
A ona je stvarno zgodna.
So when there's some big powerful dude in the land,
Pa kad je neki moćnik tamo naišao
and he sees the wife,
i vidio njegovu ženu,
what does Abraham do?
što je Abraham učinio?
Of course, trust God, right?
Pa vjerovao Bogu, zar ne?
No.
Ne.
Nah, wrong answer.
Krivi odgovor.
Just tell him you're my sister.
Daj mu reci da si mi sestra.
He almost jeopardizes the very inheritance of God.
Zamalo da nije ugrozio Božju baštinu.
This is the line of descent to the Messiah.
To je dakle Mesijina loza.
This is the woman through whom the messianic line will be transferred.
To je žena po kojoj će se prenijeti mesijanska loza.
So this isn't just about a man's courage.
Dakle, ovdje nije u pitanju samo muškarčeva hrabrost.
This isn't just about giving over your wife to someone else for sex.
Niti davanje svoje žene nekom drugom za seks.
What is at stake in this narrative is the very redemption of the universe.
Na kocki je bilo otkupljenje svemira.
Do you see that?
Jel vidite to?
On a little decision,
Takva je jedna mala odluka.
the destiny of mankind was hanging.
Visilo je sudbina čovječanstva.
You see, Abraham was free, wasn't he?
Abraham je bio slobodan, zar ne?
He was, wasn't he? He made some choices.
Donio je svoje odluke,
But God intervenes.
ali Bog je umješao prste.
Grace overrules.
Milost je prevladala.
And God spares both Abraham and you and I, by the way.
I Bog je poštedio i Abrahama, ali i vas i mene.
This is a big God that you serve.
Služite velikome Bogu.
He's a God of surprises.
On je Bog koji iznenađuje.
But Abraham didn't learn the lesson the first time in Genesis 12 because he did it again in Genesis 20.
Međutim, Abraham nije naučio tu lekciju u postanku 12 jer je ponovio istu grešku u 20. poglavlju.
You've never done that, right?
Vi to niste nikad učinili.
You learn the lessons the first time.
Vi odmah naučite lekciju koja vas ide.
Where are you trusting in?
Jeste li mu vjerovali?
You see, Christians often make mistakes. That's okay. It's all right to make mistakes as long as we learn from them.
Često griješe i to je u redu. Griješimo ako naučimo iz njih, nešto dobro je.
The name George Verver has come up a couple of times.
Više puta smo spomenuli Georgea Ververa.
In the founding days of Youth with a Mission and Operation Mobilization.
U počecima misije Youth with a Mission i Operation Mobilization.
These were wild men and women. Sorry? They were wild men and women.
Bili su to divlji ljudi i žene.
They really were. They would go anywhere and do anything.
Bili su stvarno divlji. Išli bi bilo kamo, činili bilo što.
And God used them.
I Bog je radio u njima.
In the early days there was a lot of passion and not a lot of wisdom.
U prvim danima bilo je puno žara, ali ne puno pameti.
But they learned over time.
Ali s vremenom su naučili.
God spoke to the leaders of Youth with a Mission.
Bog je progovorio vođama Youth with a Mission.
And at the same time he had been speaking to the leaders of OM.
U isto vrijeme i vođama OM-a.
About buying ships.
Govorio je da trebaju kupiti brodove.
Because they were looking at the world, thought, well, most of the world is on water.
Jer gledali su svijet i veći dio svijeta je pod vodom.
So we need ships to get Christians to where the people are.
Dakle, trebaju nam brodovi da bi kršćani otišli tamo gdje su ljudi.
Makes sense.
Ima smisla.
But ships are very expensive.
Ali brodovi su skupi.
And especially when you've never had one and never ran one, and it's a very big operation.
Pogotovo kad niste nikada imali brod, nikad upravljali brodom, velika je to operacija.
The YWAM leaders were ahead of OM.
Vođe OM-a su prednjačili nad vođama OM-a.
And they had seen a ship. They were now in the place where they were believing God.
I vidjeli su brod i sad su došli tu gdje, za što su vjerovali Bogu.
But what happened was this.
Ali što se dogodilo? Evo.
They sensed the timing was not right.
Zaključili su da vrijeme nije pravo.
They had gone ahead and put the money down to buy a ship.
Već su položili novac za kupnju broda.
And then several of the leaders began to feel guilty.
A onda je više vođa počelo osjećati krivnju.
Why?
Zašto?
They were praying about a ship. They had a ship. They had money on a ship. And
molili su se za brod, tražili su brod, dobili su brod, imali su novac i...
But God told them it wasn't that ship.
Ali Bog im je rekao, to nije taj brod.
Not yet.
Još nije vrijeme.
So what did they do?
Što su učinili?
They gave the money to OM.
Dali su novac OM-u.
And OM used the money to buy a ship called the doulos.
I OM je kupio brod po imenu Doulos.
The word doulos in Greek means servant.
Što na grčkom znači sluga.
Sometime later, Youth with a Mission bought a ship.
Nešto kasnije i YWAM kupio brod.
God gave them more money.
Bog im je dao još novca.
And that ship is called Anastasis, resurrection.
I taj se brod zvao Anastasis, uskrsnuće.
The question is hearing God in his timing.
Dakle, bitno je čuti Boga u pravo vrijeme.
And not being impatient.
I ne biti nestrpljiv.
Not taking shortcuts.
Ne ići prečicama.
And being willing to wait until we really have the stamp of heaven on what we do.
I biti voljan čekati dok s neba ne dođe žig odobrenja.
But we struggle on three fronts.
No, borimo se na tri strane.
Our weakness,
s našim slabostima,
our woundedness,
s našom ranjenošću
and our wishes.
I našim željama.
The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life appeal to us.
Požuda tijela, oholost života, požuda očiju, to nam godi.
So it's very easy to go after things at times that make me feel powerful or significant.
Stoga je jako lako često ići za nekim stvarima zbog kojih se osjećam bitno i važno.
This is a family conversation, isn't it?
I ovo je obiteljski razgovor, jel'
We're
tako?
talking to each other as brothers and sisters.
Razgovaramo kao braća i
Now,
sestre.
you know what I'm like. There's ambition in the church.
Znate kakav sam i ja. Postoje ambicije u crkvi.
The people who can't get famous out there can get famous in here.
Ljudi koji ne mogu biti slavni vani mogu biti slavni tu.
And sometimes we strive for that for the wrong reasons.
I ponekad težimo za time iz
It's
pogrešnih
not about
razloga.
being famous. It's not about being famous.
Nije bit u tome da smo slavni,
It's about being a servant and being effective.
već da smo sluge
It's
i da
about
smo
being used
učinkoviti.
by God because you serve Him, then you're ready to pour your life out.
Da Bog radi u nama jer mu služimo i spremni smo dati
It's
život
not so
za
that
to.
someone will look at you and think you're a great preacher, a great singer, or a great whatever.
Ne zato da bi netko gledao u vas i rekao kako ste dobar propovednik, pjevač ili nešto drugo.
I want you to turn to Matthew 4.
Pogledajmo Mateja 4.
Because Jesus faced the same temptations in the garden that Adam faced.
Jer Isus je bio izložen istim kušnjama kojima je Adam bio izložen u vrtu.
And in Matthew chapter 4, the enemy comes to Jesus. You remember the temptation in the wilderness?
U 4. poglavlju Mateja neprijatelj dolazi k Isusu, sjećate se
And it's
kušnje u
very
pustinji.
attractive stuff.
I nudi mu zanimljive privlačne stvari.
And basically, he's coming along and he's offering Jesus whatever you want.
I on nudi Isusu, dam ti što hoćeš.
Let me make you an offer you can't refuse.
Ponudit ću ti nešto što nećeš moći odbiti.
You want some power?
Hoćeš moć?
You want some recognition?
Hoćeš slavu?
I'll give it all to you
Sve ti dam.
if you just do the following things.
a ti učini ovo.
And what does Jesus do?
I što Isus
In
čini?
Matthew 4 verse 4 he says, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God.
U Mateju 4:4 kaže, ne živi čovjek samo u kruhu, nego o svakoj riječi koja izlazi iz usta Božjeg.
There's your choice.
Eto vam odluke.
Are we going to be like Abraham and listen to a voice from beyond?
Hoćemo li biti poput Abrahama i poslušati glas s druge
We
strane?
listen to his word, believe his promise?
Slušati njegovu riječ i obećanje?
Or are we going to listen to some other voice that promises something more immediate, something more satisfying, something now?
Ili ćemo slušati drugi glas koji nam obećava nešto drugo što ćemo dobiti odmah, sada?
But in Matthew chapter 4 verse 7,
U Mateju 4:7
Jesus says, you shan't put the Lord your God to the test.
kaže, ne kušaj gospodara Boga svojega.
You see, oftentimes what happens is we're forced to try and ask God to prove himself.
Često smo u prilici da tražimo od Boga da se dokaže.
And nothing like pain or trial forces us to create a false contest.
I ništa nas poput boli ili kušnje neće natjerati na tako nešto.
If you do this, God, then you're my God.
Bože, ako učiniš to i to, onda si moj Bog.
And yet Jesus said we should not put the Lord our God to a test.
Ali Bog kaže da ne smijemo kušati
We
Boga.
trust him no matter what.
Trebamo mu vjerovati bez obzira na sve.
Ouch!
Jao.
This is easy to say, I know, but it's hard to do, isn't it?
Ovo je lako reći, ali je teško učiniti.
Ultimately putting your trust, your hope in that which you cannot see and you cannot prove.
Kada položite svoju vjeru i nadu u nešto čemu se nadate i što ne možete vidjeti niti dokazati,
But resting ultimately that he will do that which is right.
ali znajući da će on u konačnici učiniti što je pravo.
And then the third thing is in verse 10.
I treća stvar, 10. stih.
We are to worship God alone.
Trebamo štovati samo Boga.
Worship him and serve him only.
Klanja se i njemu jedinom služi.
There's nothing groundbreakingly fascinating about these verses.
Ništa novoga ovdje ne saznajemo,
But they tell us that we've got to stay focused in our life.
ali vidimo da trebamo ostati fokusirani.
So if my faith and my trust is in Christ, my hope will be centered and my love will also be directed.
Ako je moja vjera i pouzdanje u Kristu, onda će moja nada biti tamo.
But there's one big condition.
Ali postoji jedan veliki
It's a
uvjet.
very simple thing,
I vrlo jednostavna
but
stvar.
it's something that is not achieved very much in the church at times.
Ali ponekad se u crkvi baš to ne postiže.
And that's found in Luke chapter 9.
Luka 9.
In the Bible, one of the central things Jesus teaches about spiritual transformation
Jedna od glavnih stvari koje Isus govori o duhovnoj promjeni
is found in this verse, right? These verses here.
nalazi se upravo u ovim stihovima.
Luke 9:23.
Luka 9:23.
If anyone wishes to come after me, Luke 9:23. If anyone wishes to come after me,
Ako tko hoće ići za mnom,
he must do what?
neka što?
Deny himself,
Neka se odreče samog sebe,
take up his cross
neka svaki dan uzme križ,
daily
svaki dan,
and follow me.
i neka me slijedi.
Whoever wishes to save his life will lose it.
Jer tko hoće spasiti život svoj, izgubit će ga,
Whoever loses his life for my sake, he's the one who will save it.
a tko izgubi život svoj radi mene, spasit će ga.
How are you doing?
Kako je vama?
How are you doing on this verse?
Kako stojite sa ovim stihom?
This is the precondition of really walking with God.
Ovo je preduvjet za hod s Bogom.
Everything I said 5 minutes ago makes no sense unless this condition is operational every day of your life.
Sve što sam do sada govorio nema nikakvog smisla ako ovo ne činite svaki
Am
dan.
I denying myself today?
Jesam li se danas odrekao sebe?
Am I saying yes to God and no to myself? Or am I saying yes to myself and no to God?
Jesam li rekao Bogu da, a sebi ne, ili Bogu ne, a sebi da?
What is the source of much of the conflict in our churches?
U čemu je izvor većine sukoba u našim crkvama?
What is the source of most of the conflict in any of our lives?
U čemu je izvor većine sukoba u našem životu općenito?
It's because we want to win, we want to be right, we want to succeed.
U tome što mi želimo pobijediti, što želimo biti u pravu, želimo
But
biti
if
uspješni.
any man will come after me, let him deny himself daily.
Ali tko hoće ići za mnom, neka se odreče sebe svaki dan.
I want you to listen to these statements. These are by Dallas Willard.
Poslušajte ove izjave Dallasa Willarda.
This is from one of the best books, I think, the modern books on discipleship, and you can close your eyes and just let the words
Ovo
into your
je
mind.
iz jedne od najboljih modernijih knjiga o učeništvu i možete zatvoriti oči i slušati.
This is a veteran, I think, in training people to become spiritual men and women.
Ovo je čovjek koji je stručan u obučavanju ljudi da postanu duhovni ljudi.
And these were just lifted out of a section of his book that I think are very useful to us.
I ovo je iz jednog dijela knjige i mislim da će nam koristiti.
He says this, we are called to live in the awareness of another world.
Kaže, pozvani smo živjeti svjesni jednog drugog svijeta.
We're called to live in the awareness of another world.
Pozvani smo živjeti svjesni jednog drugog svijeta.
To let it speak to us, to let it impress us.
Dopustiti mu da nam govori, da se utisne na nas.
Life must be organized by the heart if it's to be organized at all.
Život treba organizirati srcem ako želimo da bude organiziran.
So if you want to organize your life, it has to be centered around the heart.
Ako želite organizirati svoj život, onda ga organizirate oko svog srca.
Listen to this.
Slušajte ovo.
When we assume the place of God in our life,
Kada zauzmemo Božje mjesto u svom životu,
the power of denial comes into play.
tada nastupa moć poricanja.
So once God comes into my life, obviously denial is now operational in my experience. Once God comes into my life,
Kada Bog stupi u naš život,
denial is an operational condition of my experience.
dakle, poricanje je jedan operativni uvjet moga iskustva.
I haven't told you this yet.
Ovo vam još nisam rekao.
I used to be a bouncer in a dance hall.
Bio sam izbacivač.
I used to throw people out of
Izbacivao
clubs.
sam ljude sa plesnjaka.
I used to fight,
Tukao sam se.
and I liked fighting
I volim se tući.
because I'm a Scot.
Jer sam Škot.
It's what we do for a hobby.
To nam je hobi.
And on top of that, I was angry.
I još sam bio ljutit.
So I got to hit all these kind of people, and it was taking all my anger out.
Pa sam mogao mlatiti ljude i stresati svoj gnjev.
Didn't do them any good, but it made me feel good.
Njima nije koristilo, ali meni je baš bilo super.
And then one day I walk into a house in Glasgow in Scotland.
I onda sam jednog dana ušao u jednu kuću u Glasgowu u Škotskoj.
And I thought I was a tough guy.
Mislio sam da sam
I
stvarno
lifted
batinaš.
weights.
Išao sam u teretanu.
I hung out with a bunch of thugs.
Družio se sa razbijačima.
We all discussed beating people up, and it was all good fun.
Razgovarali smo o tome kako ćemo mlatiti druge, baš je bilo zabavno.
And I was on the career to be a successful young gangster.
I htio sam postati uspješan mladi gangster.
And I was doing very well. I mean, my career was developing. It
I
really was.
karijera je napredovala, bilo je dobro.
And then this girl that I was living with became a Christian.
I onda je ova djevojka s kojom sam živio postala kršćanka.
Well, I didn't know what that meant because I didn't even know what Christian was.
Nisam znao što je to jer nisam znao što je kršćanin.
So she invites me one day to meet these Christians who were responsible for her knowing God, so I went to probably beat them up.
I onda me je pozvala da jednog dana upoznam te kršćane koji su odgovorni što je ona kršćanka, vjerojatno da ih izmlatim.
And I come into this house.
Ušao sam u kuću
And I was being smart and, clever because I'm cool and tough, and
i
whatever.
pravio sam se pametan i ja sam cool.
And I'm mocking them and laughing at their Christian. I'm laughing at the Bible and I'm laughing at the whole thing.
Rugao sam i smijao sam njihovoj Bibliji i svemu tome.
And then something began to happen.
I onda se nešto počelo događati.
Somewhere in the conversation I had this strange feeling that there might be a God.
Negdje tijekom tog razgovora obuzeo me čudan osjećaj da možda Bog postoji.
And I'm still throwing out all the smart mouth answers and being funny, but it's getting less and less as the night goes on.
I ja sam još uvijek pametovao i pričao viceve, ali sve manje kako je večer odmicala.
And then all of a sudden we came to the place where I'm pretty sure there is a God. Oops.
I onda sam odjednom shvatio, aha, Bog izgleda ipak postoji.
And now I'm really in trouble.
Sad sam u nevolji.
And they made it clear that the cross was for people like me.
I jasno su mi dali do znanja da je križ za ljude poput mene.
And I got on my knees in a bathroom by a toilet and I said, Christ, if you're there, I want to know you.
I pao sam na koljena tamo u kupaonici kraj WC-a, rekao, Bože, ako si tu, želim te upoznati.
And he saved me.
I spasio me je.
And it was real.
I za stvarno je
And
bilo.
it took. It took.
I primilo se.
But you know what? Things began to change.
Ali znate što? Stvari su se počele mijenjati.
I was still an angry person.
Još sam uvijek bio gnjevan čovjek.
And within a few days I was going to be tested on those issues.
I za par dana me je čekalo testiranje toga svega.
Because what was I going to do? In the past when someone made me angry, you hit them.
Jer ranije kad bi me neko naljutio, ja bi ga mlatnuo.
Of course that doesn't work in the church very well, as you know.
U crkvi to baš ne funkcionira.
We learn to assassinate them verbally, but you don't hit them.
Da učimo kako ubiti ljude ovako riječima, ali ne udarati ih.
When God comes in, denial is the norm.
Kada Bog nastupi na scenu, onda je odricanje
Because from now on it's not my will, but thy will be done.
Jer više nije moja volja, nego tvoja volja.
And that's the Christian life.
To je kršćanski život.
And unless that stays operational as your life,
I to treba djelovati u našem životu.
you'll take shortcuts.
Hvatat ćete prečice i
You'll
krivine.
want quick success.
Željet ćete brzi uspjeh.
Now you're tired, so let me run this quickly. to an
Umorni
end.
ste, pa ćemo požuriti.
We have to choose hope.
Moramo se odlučiti za nadu.
Some of you know what I mean.
Znate na što mislim,
Now let
vjerojatno.
me speak to you as fellow Europeans, because I still am a European.
I reći ću vam kao evropljaninu, još uvijek sam evropljanin.
There is a deep-seated pessimism in our soul.
U našim dušama se nalazi duboko ukorijenjeni pesimizam.
We are the children of the 20th century, and terrible things happened in the 20th century.
Mi smo djeca 20. stoljeća, a tada su se dogodile stravične stvari.
We are the heirs of thought that has said there is no God, that science has disproved God, and there's no reality other than materialism in life.
Mi smo baštinici misli koja je govorila da nema Boga, da Boga ne može biti, da je jedino stvarnost materijalna.
And we can look at statistics like the map that we saw around the Mediterranean basin and say we're so small, we're insignificant.
I možemo pogledati statistike ove sa Sredozemlja i reći toliko smo mali da smo beznačajni.
Let me just tell you this quickly.
Reći ću vam nešto na brzinu.
There are more evangelical Christians in China today than there are in the United States.
Danas u Kini ima više evanđelskih kršćana nego u Americi.
Conservative estimates of Christians are about 100 million.
Konzervativne procjene kažu da ih otprilike 100 milijuna.
And it's growing constantly.
I brojka stalno
And it's
raste.
not just in the poor people. That has been a movement. Now it's also hitting the elite.
I nije samo više među siromasima što je bio veliki pokret, nego i među višim slojevima društva.
Communist party members who are giving their life to Christ.
Članovi komunističke partije se obraćaju Kristu.
People who are having dreams of Christ revealing himself to them.
Ljudi sanjaju kako im se Krist otkriva.
In one town, and this is a fact,
U jednom gradu, ovo je činjenica,
so many of the Communist Party officials became Christians
toliko članova partije se obratilo
that
Kristu,
when the regional headquarters called the police to go and raid the Christian homes,
da kad su zvali s vrha države da se poharaju kršćanski domovi,
it was Christians who were answering the phone.
kršćani su se javljali na telefon.
So they called the Christians to tell them they were coming to get out before the raid took place.
Pa su javljali kršćanima, bježte, dolazimo u raciju, skrivajte se.
God is moving.
Bog djeluje.
But we can look around in Latin America, you can look in the Middle East, you can look in other parts and sometimes be overwhelmed.
Ali možemo vidjeti Latinsku Ameriku, Bliski istok i stvarno se zadiviti.
Because maybe in Europe we feel that we've been forgotten.
Jer možda mi u Europi mislimo da smo
Maybe
zaboravljeni.
we feel we've been neglected.
Možda mislimo da smo zapostavljeni.
Maybe we've lost our courage. Maybe we've lost our expectation.
Možda smo ostali bez hrabrosti i očekivanja.
Maybe we've become depressed.
Možda smo deprimirani.
Maybe we forgot to seek God afresh.
Možda smo zaboravili iznova tražiti Boga.
And my encouragement to you
Želim vas ohrabriti.
is that He has not forgotten you.
On vas nije
He
zaboravio.
has not forgotten you.
On vas nije zaboravio.
Something is happening on this continent.
Nešto se na ovom
There are
kontinentu
little
događa.
cracks appearing.
Događaju se stvari
For
sitne.
the first time in many years, British church attendance has begun to move up.
Po prvi put u dugo godina ljudi su u Engleskoj počeli više dolaziti u
There
crkvu.
are public discussions about Christ and the gospel in several places, all going on around the continent.
Po cijelom kontinentu se održavaju javne diskusije o Kristu.
There are politicians who are talking to Christians.
Političari govore s kršćanima.
My colleagues are speaking to some very interesting people very openly about Jesus and the cross and the gospel.
Moji kolege razgovaraju s nekim vrlo zanimljivim ljudima otvoreno o Kristu, o evanđelju i o križu.
So let us choose to believe in what God is doing and have hope.
Stoga odlučimo da ćemo vjerovati u ono što Bog čini i imati nadu.
So 1 Peter chapter 1,
1. Petrova 1.
three things.
3 stvari.
In 1 Peter 1 verse 13,
U 1. Petrova 1, 13.
he says, prepare your minds for action.
Kaže, pripremite svoj um na djelovanje.
Fix your hope completely on the grace that's to come to you. 1 Peter 1:13.
Opašite svoje bokove, svoj budite trijezni.
So preparing our minds for action.
Dakle, pripremite svoj
Be transformed, remember?
Transformirajte se, obnovite se. Kako?
By
Kako?
the removal of your mind?
Uklanjanjem svoga uma ili?
No?
Ne.
The renewal of your mind.
Obnovljenjem svoga uma.
Are we ready if God was to open doors for us?
Jesmo li spremni ako nam Bog otvori vrata?
Are we training Christians for the university?
Obučavamo li kršćane za sveučilište?
Do you have Christians for the media?
Imamo li kršćane za medije?
Do you have Christians for public policy?
Imamo li kršćane za politiku?
Are we educating ourselves not just in our Bible but beyond that also theology and understanding? Are we growing in our thinking?
Da li se educiramo ne samo o Bibliji nego i o teologiji i o svemu? Rastemo li u našem razmišljanju?
Are we getting ready?
Spremamo li se?
Think of people in history.
Razmislimo o ljudima tijekom
One of
povijesti.
my heroes is William Wilberforce.
Jedan od mojih junaka je William Wilberforce.
Why?
Zašto?
Because he was raised in a society family in England. Society family in England. A well-to-do family in England.
Aha, zato što je odrastao u jednoj dobrostojećoj obitelji u Engleskoj.
And his parents, he discovered the Methodists.
I saznao je za metodiste.
Now this is the old Methodists, the ones that used to believe in Jesus.
To su oni stari koji su vjerovali u Isusa.
Not the new ones.
Ne ovi novi.
No, that's it, but you understand.
Šalim se.
And his parents were concerned because he became, they thought, a fanatic. He worshipped God. He believed the Bible. I mean, you can't have that.
I njegovi roditelji su se zabrinuli jer je počeo vjerovati u Boga, postao fanatik, ma ne može
So
to
they sent
tako.
him off to parties and they sent him to university and he played games and he became a man of the world.
Pa su ga slali na zabave, na sveučilište i zabavljao se, postao je svjetski čovjek.
But God ambushed him
Ali Bog ga je onda zaskočio
and he found a living faith.
i čovjek je otkrio živu vjeru.
And from the minute this young man came to God,
I onog trena kad je taj mladić upoznao
he had
Boga,
a passion, he had an education, he had a calling, and he knew he had to do something.
bio je pun žara, imao je obrazovanje, poziv i znao je da nešto mora poduzeti.
Well, you could do all kinds of things, can't you?
Pa moguće je činiti svašta.
But he decided that ending slavery was the issue.
Međutim, on je zaključio da je glavno pitanje za ukidanje ropstva.
He took on the British Empire.
On se uhvatio u koštac
He
sa
took
britanskim
on
imperijem.
the global economic system at that time.
Tada se uhvatio u koštac sa svjetskim ekonomskim sustavom.
Because that's what it was.
Jer to je bilo to.
That was the central power of the empire in many respects, built on slavery.
U mnogo čemu je to bilo središnja stvar imperija. Bilo je izgrađeno na roblju.
And he fought all his life.
I cijeli život se borio.
He wrote tracts.
Pisao je
He had
traktate.
friends.
Imao je
He
prijatelje.
prayed.
Molio se.
He spoke in parliament.
Govorio je u parlamentu.
He was attacked in every conceivable way.
Napadali su ga na sve načine.
And it took about 30 or 40 years.
Trebalo mu je 30-40 godina.
And just before he died,
I nedugo prije smrti,
the British government
britanska vlada
passed a law outlawing slavery across the British Empire.
izglasala je zakon gdje se ropstvo stavlja izvan zakona u cijelom britanskom
Because
imperiju.
of evangelical Christians.
Zbog evanđelskih
Because of God's
kršćana.
word.
Zbog Božje riječi.
Because of visions of hope.
Zbog vizije nade.
Because they were not going to sit back and do nothing.
Jer nisu bili voljni sjesti i ne činiti ništa.
Look at Croatia today.
Pogledajmo Hrvatsku danas.
You may not see it yet,
Možda to još ne vidite,
but it's there.
ali tu je.
What is the king wanting to do here?
Što to kralj želi ovdje učiniti?
What does the king want to do from here to other places?
Što kralj želi da se odavde prenese na druga
Lift
mjesta?
up your eyes.
Podignite oči.
Maybe God wants some of you to do something completely different than you imagine.
Možda Bog od nekih od vas traži nešto sasvim drugačije nego što ste
Maybe you have
zamišljali.
to start a business.
Možda trebate pokrenuti biznis.
Maybe you have to open a university.
Možda ćete otvoriti
Maybe to do
sveučilište.
something that's not been thought of in a Christian way in this country.
Raditi nešto o čemu se nije razmišljalo u ovoj zemlji.
As a man thinks in his heart, so is he.
Kako čovjek razmišlja u svome srcu, takav jest.
Hope inspires the imagination.
Nada nadahnjuje maštu.
The second thing,
Druga stvar,
verse 14.
14. stih.
As obedient children, don't be conformed to your former lusts.
Budući da ste poslušna djeca, ne oblikujte se prema negdašnjim strastima.
If you are going to be a serious Christian, you're going to have to learn to deal with your desire.
Ako zaozbiljno želite biti kršćani, morate naučiti zauzdavati svoje želje.
Here's a phrase, just a little phrase,
Evo jedne rečenice
from Tim Keller.
od Tima Kellera.
He said, we should look at our most uncontrollable emotions. Look at your most uncontrollable
Rekao je,
emotions.
pogledajte svoje najnesavladivije osjećaje.
What?
Šta?
You see, for some of you, your emotion constantly is fear.
Jer kod nekih od vas stalno vama vlada strah.
For some of you, it's anger.
Kod drugih je to gnjev.
For some of you, it's sadness.
Kod trećih je tuga.
For some of you, it's envy.
Kod nekog drugog je zavist.
For some people, it might even be hate.
Kod nekog je možda i mržnja.
It's just there all the time.
Tu je uvijek.
Simmering, brooding, always working.
Kuha, uvijek djeluje.
We need to look at those things.
Trebamo sagledati te stvari.
What is this domineering thing in my life?
Što je to što dominira mojim
Why
životom?
do I want this thing so badly?
Zašto toliko
Why do I
težim za
get so
time?
angry?
Zašto se toliko
Why
ljutim?
am I so afraid?
Zašto se toliko plašim?
Why can I not meet God in my darkness?
Zašto ne mogu upoznati Boga u svojoj tami?
Bring your darkness to the cross.
Donesi svoju tamu ka
Bring
križu.
your pain to his feet.
Donesi svoju bol pred njegove noge.
Don't pretend it's not there. He knows it's there.
Nemoj glumiti da nije tamo, on
The
zna da
only
jest.
person you're fooling is yourself.
Zavaravaš jedino sebe.
Winston Churchill
Winston Churchill
struggled with depression.
imao je problema s depresijom.
Many leaders struggle with depression.
Mnogi vođe imaju problema s depresijom.
Churchill called it the black dog.
Churchill je tu svoju depresiju nazvao crni pas.
It would come up upon him and it would creep up and it would suffocate his soul.
Jer bi ga spopala i zagušila mu dušu.
Now, Churchill wasn't a Christian by any means,
Churchill nikako nije bio kršćanin,
but he learned some things to do.
ali je naučio što činiti.
He would paint pictures, he would build things, he would redirect his attention.
On bi slikao slike, gradio stvari, preusmjerio bi svoju pozornost.
Deal with your desires one step at a time.
Postupno se razračunavajte sa svojim željama.
If you don't have hope
Ako nemate nade,
because you're drowning in some dark emotion,
zato što se gušite u mračnim
then
osjećajima,
one step at a time turn back to God and at least begin confessing it to him.
onda se postupno počnete okretati ka Bogu i barem mu priznajte
The
polagano.
battle can be won,
Moguće je osvojiti ovu bitku,
but you have to have the will to fight.
ali morate imati volje za borbu.
And lastly,
I na
we have to
kraju,
be dedicated and determined.
moramo biti posvećeni i odlučni.
1 Peter 1:16 and 17.
1. Petrova 1:16-17.
You shall be holy as I am holy.
Bićete sveti kao što sam ja svet.
Ouch.
Jao.
You shall be holy as I am holy.
Bićete sveti kao što sam ja svet.
That's really high standard. I find that very intimidating. You?
Mene to plaši, jer to visok standard. Jel vas plaši?
I have befriended some marvelous military officers in America.
Upoznao sam se sa sjajnim vojnim časnicima u Americi.
One of my friends is a lieutenant colonel in the Marines.
Jedan moj prijatelj je pukovnik, poručnik u Marincima.
Marines are very impressive. Marines, they're very impressive.
To su stvarno impresivni ljudi.
I mean, they look impressive.
Izgledaju tako.
They walk impressive.
Hodaju
When they
impresivno.
talk to you, they're impressive.
Kada govore s vama, impresivni su.
And he had been in Afghanistan for a year.
I on
Very
je bio
impressive.
u Afganistanu na godinu dana, vrlo impresivno.
And the guy, he's as smart as all get up. He's got a master's degree. He's
Da, pametan
organized.
je, diplomirao je, organiziran je.
Everything about him tells me that he is focused.
Sve što vidim na njemu govori mi da je čovjek fokusiran.
He jogs. He, bends bars with his teeth. I mean, he's,
Džogira, savija šipke zubima.
he just looks the part.
Jednostavno odgovara mu takva uloga.
He's organized. He when the tsunami hit in Asia,
Organiziran je kad je tsunami pogodio Aziju.
he organized all the helicopter missions going off the carriers to Indonesia.
On je organizirao sve misije koje su helikopterom išle u Indoneziju.
That's a big job, operational commander for all these people.
Veliki je to posao.
And he's told me stories about what it's like to work with all these different people.
I pričao je kako je to raditi sa raznim ljudima.
But when I see in his life dedication, focus,
Ali kada vidimo u njegovom životu posvećenje i usmjerenost.
and by the way, he's a very serious Christian.
Inače on je itekako kršćanin.
The word holy is like that.
Riječ svet je takva.
You see, when I talk to him, he knows he's a Marine.
Kada govorim s njim, on zna da je Marinac.
He serves his God, his country,
On
and his
služi
flag.
svom Bogu, svojoj zemlji i svojoj zastavi.
He will lay down his life.
On će položiti svoj život.
He won't bat an eyelid.
On neće trepnuti okom.
Because he's been trained to do so,
Jer tako je obučen
and because he keeps training to do that.
i zato što se i dalje obučava.
The word holiness doesn't mean to become pure and some kind of ethereal, otherworldly person.
Postati svet ne znači biti nekako čist na neki nejasan način.
Oh, you're so holy.
Jao, tako se svet.
It's not some kind of magical, mystical aura that we carry around with
Nije to
us.
nekakva magična, mistična aura koju nosimo sa sobom.
To be holy is to be set apart and dedicated to the purposes of God.
Biti svet znači biti odvojen za Božje naume i nakane.
So when it says be holy, are you set apart?
Pa kada kaže budite sveti,
Are
jeste
you
li vi
dedicated?
odvojeni? Jeste li vi posvećeni?
You see, there's some things I won't do.
Ima stvari koje ja neću učiniti.
There's some places I won't go.
Ima mjesta na koja neću ići.
There's some things I will not listen to.
Ima stvari koje neću slušati.
There's things I will not look at.
Ima stvari koje neću gledati.
Why?
Zašto?
Because I'm set apart.
Jer sam odvojen.
I'm set apart for him.
Odvojen za njega.
I'm set apart for his purposes, for his goals.
Za njegove nakane i ciljeve.
Are you?
A vi?
So tonight,
I zato, večeras,
maybe you've drifted a little bit.
možda ste malo odlutali.
There's always a place for repentance and return.
Uvijek se možete pokajati i vratiti.
Maybe you have sinned, or maybe you're going on sinning at the moment.
Možda ste sagriješili, možda sada griješite.
Maybe you need to seek forgiveness and grace afresh.
Možda trebate iznova zatražiti oproštenje
Afresh, seek God afresh.
i ponovo tražiti Boga.
Or maybe you've just wandered.
Ili ste možda samo
You don't
zalutali.
know why.
Ne znate zašto.
You don't know when it began.
Ne znate kada.
You just woke up one morning and you're here and you should have been over there.
Samo ste se jednog dana probudili, tu ste, a trebali ste biti tamo.
But you want to get back.
Ali se želite vratiti.
Well, I believe that God's word to you is this.
Vjerujem da vam Bog želi poručiti sljedeće.
There is always hope.
Uvijek ima nade.
Turn to him.
Obratite se k njemu.
God bless you.
Nek vas Bog blagoslovi.